Hello, my good people. Hope everyone is well. To any newcomers, welcome to my channel. I'm Faith, and here's a new video. I don't know, like I don't want to say nervous, but like I'm very intrigued with how this video is gonna go because it's very like out of my style. I'm very into obviously like the vlogs and everything. This is like my first like me like talking and like preaching to the choir, but I really hope you guys enjoy it. So let's get into the video. Okay, so obviously exam time and exam season is approaching, and I know that it can be a very like stressful and daunting time, especially like, you know, with studying and all that stuff. But these are just like a few like things that I personally do that have really worked for me, and like whenever I give these tips to like my friends and stuff, they've also like, you know, it's kind of helped them as well. So I just like thought, you know, I could help one extra person out there. I mean, let me do it, you know what I mean? Like all the help. I know I would have loved a lot of help when I was obviously like going through exams and stuff like that. I obviously had to like figure it out a lot on my own, but like, you know, I'm here to just like help the people. So for the first thing that I would like advise, have a set routine. So like you're less likely to like be unproductive when you have a set routine. So like wake up in the morning, go do this, go do that, go do that, and it needs to be like structured. So like for me, like my morning routine is like I wake up, go to the gym, come back, shower, eat, and then I go straight to studying. Like I kind of, you know, I do like about like 2-3 hours in the morning and then have lunch, study again. You know what I mean? Like those set routines. You could be a person that just wakes up and wants to go study straight and then afterwards do the whole showering and all that stuff. But just have a set routine so that like in your brain, like it's just like kind of structured and you don't have to like really think about, okay, like what am I gonna do today and da 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 da, you know, like schedule wise, like what am I doing, and just like having your life in order and having a set routine really helps. Like in addition to obviously having a set routine, I plan my day to the very last detail, especially during exams, because it gets so stressful that you genuinely forget simple things, you know what I mean? And balance is really important. So I literally like I'll set reminders and like I'll literally write down, okay, so 7 o'clock you're gonna wake up, 7:30 you're gonna go to the gym, 8 o'clock you're gonna da da da, you know, like those like down to the last detail, you know what I mean? Like, oh, you're gonna have lunch at this time. It seems very silly, but like when you're like in the midst of exams, like you actually like kind of lose a bit of function. At least I lose a bit of function. So like having everything down to the last detail like helps make sure that everything is in order, so that, you know, you have to like you're making sure that everything is happening properly. Like studying is happening when it has to, eating is happening when it has to, breaks are happening when it has to, just so that you can really maximize your productivity, in my opinion. Okay, next tip I would say is have like 2 external outlets that are like non-academic, like completely not related to your work. I find that it really helps kind of like distract yourself and kind of, I don't know, for me at least, like having these like external outlets, it kind of makes me more productive. I don't know how that works, but like it makes me more productive like with my studying. So like I have gym and I go on walks and like I watch like shows, like usually like during exam time, like I'll adopt like a cute little like sitcom with like very like 20-minute, like 25-minute like episodes, like very short, very sweet, so that like when I'm not studying I can have that little like stimulation, and it kind of gives me like a break and it gives me a time to breathe, so that when I do have to study, like I'm kind of like re-energized and I'm like kind of like just like ready to like tackle it, you know what I mean? So obviously do whatever works for you. So like if you like running, if you like walking, if you like self-care or yoga, like I don't know, like face masks or like doing your nails or something, or I don't know, like whatever outlet you can think of that best works with you and your schedule and your everything, do that. Sports as well also is good. Just have something that's non-academic so that you can give yourself a break and give your brain some time to really just like reload, so that when you study you're like you have full capacity and that you're not like, oh my gosh, do I really have to do this? You know what I mean? The next tip for me, like for productivity and like just like maximizing that like during exams, is like setting mini goals, especially on days when you genuinely like, this is usually like what I do on days when like I actually don't want to work at all, but I know I have to. So I'll set like mini goals. I'll be like, okay, Faith, if you study for an hour, right? If you study for an hour, you can go outside and like take a little walk and like listen to music and just like take a little break, right? Or like you just be like, okay, let me study for 30 minutes and see how I feel afterwards, right? And 9 times out of 10, when you set that little mini, okay, let me just study for 30 minutes, like your brain is probably just gonna like, you're like kind of tricking your brain. And you can just like be like, okay, I'm gonna do the 30 minutes. And then I'll take a little break. And then you're gonna come back and be like, let me do another 30 minutes. And then, you know, like you're just like building that like, oh, okay, doing a little bit is better than doing zero. Like on days when I don't want to work, I'll usually like not do 5 hours or whatever, but I'll do like, let's say like 2 hours. 2 hours is better than zero at the end of the day. You know what I mean? Like obviously it's not ideal, but it's better than nothing. You know what I mean? Because I mean, we're also human. We're not going to be able to just work all the time, but having those like setting those mini little goals kind of helps just maximize productivity so that you're at least doing something and not nothing. Yeah, this one is like really important, and I will advocate for this a bajillion times. Like no matter what, I will always advocate for this. Prioritize rest and sleep, guys. Oh my gosh, please. The amount of times people like, I don't get it. Like maybe it's just me, but like I don't get the whole, oh yeah, I'm gonna sleep for 2 hours and that. Like it's like, guys, scientifically, biologically, that is not how we're supposed to function. You know what I mean? Like you need to make sure that your brain has time to rest and time to, you know what I mean, like reorganize itself, and time to really like absorb the information and retain the information. Like you need to give your brain time to do that. So like when you study, like don't just do a full 6-hour session with no breaks. That's just not productive at all. You know, have a 2-hour session break, 2-hour session break, 2-hour session break, even 1-hour session break, 1-hour session break, 1 hour, like, you know what I mean? It's really important to take breaks and rest in between. And also sleeping is really important. Like I'm a very like, I love sleeping, and like for me, like to really function at like my highest level during exams and tests and whatever, I had to at least sleep like 8-9 hours. And I know that's not realistic for everyone, but I would really advise that you have at least 6 hours or more like hours of sleep. I think it really just like maximizes performance, and it allows you to retain information. And when you sleep for a bit longer, you're able to like the next day, you're able to also like work more efficiently because you're well rested, and your brain isn't under this fatigue and under this like stress where it's like mayday, 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 mayday. Like when you're under stress, your body literally goes into fight or flight, and it's like, well, you're less likely to do well, and you're less likely to be more productive when your body is literally like, you know what I mean? So please rest, please sleep, you know what I mean? Also with rest, I usually like when I have little gaps in between my exams, I make sure that my breaks and my rest is a little bit longer, just to really like allow myself to just breathe and like allow my brain to just be like, you know what I mean? So if you have those little like longer breaks, when I mean longer breaks, I mean at least like 2-3 days in between the next exam. You know what I mean? I would usually take maybe like half the day and just like not study and just like watch a movie or like go see my friends or go do something like that's non-academic, of course, but like, you know, for like a longer break, just to give yourself that time to just recuperate and be like, yes, let's go, you know what I mean? Yeah. The last really tip that I have for me that really just like helps me during exams, and I feel like everyone has heard this, but like I just want to reiterate it because it actually does help. Making your study area like aesthetic and clean and really just like organized does help with your studying. I know like during exams, like I really like neglect a lot of stuff. Like my room is like a mess and all that stuff, so I can't even study in my room for real. So I try and like find like study areas, like at my res, like there's study areas that I usually go down and study in. If you're at like a more like fixed place, like just find somewhere like outside that you can study in that's like, you know, not your room. If your room is really clean, like, you know, like your room is organized during exams, then study in your room, but just like make sure that the area is obviously like organized and kind of like promotes productivity and like promotes, you know, like you to be just like maximizing like your working and all that stuff. I think that obviously like really helps. And like your notes and everything should just be in a very structured way. I obviously use like books, and I have my iPad and like cue cards and stuff, but just like don't like have like pages and pages and pages and pages like everywhere. It'll stress you out because now you're looking for something and it's like, oh, I don't know where it is. And instead of like, you know, using time to work and be productive, you're now like, oh, where's my stuff, and now it's like you're also not stressing yourself, and it's like, what are we doing? Like, hello. So I would say keep the stuff in a very organized way. Like, have folders maybe for each module, each subject, have folders or whatever. Or just keep things in an order way. Your brain is gonna thank you. You're gonna thank yourself, because in future when you're looking for something, or like when you're like really like stressed, having something that's ordered or having something that's like, you know, clean and aesthetic and all that stuff will help you like just calm down. You're like, you know, it'll help you just breathe. Just to like finish off, I just have like a few like little study tips that also just like really help me like during exams and stuff. Well, this is like kind of basic, but like sometimes hearing it again just like really, you know, solidifies and cements the idea. And maybe someone who's gonna watch this has never heard this before, and it actually might help them. So make your own study notes and summaries. I feel like when you write with your own handwriting, or like when you type like your own words and everything from like the lecture slides, or like from your notes that you get at school, I feel like it just makes things make more sense. You know what I mean? Like for me at least, I make like it really just like helps me when I make the notes myself, because it's like it just gets like solidified more in my brain that way, and I'd like remember it more. So I would really just like really encourage that you do that. Obviously if you don't have the time and it's like really one of those like this where it's like, you know what I mean, that's fine. Maybe the other things can also help as well. Go and study with your friends and like go over the content with your friends. So I usually like try and like for like an hour on the topic and be like, okay, I teach this section, you teach that section, I teach this section, you teach that section. And in that way you're also just like, you know, active recall kind of, and like teaching the people, make sure that you really, and like it kind of shows you that you really understand the topic. Also, where there's gaps in between like your notes and stuff, like your friend can fill in the gaps. So let's say you teach the one section and you missed out on this topic, and your friend is like, hey, you didn't really add that. Then you can add that into your like studying, and like, you know, just kind of, it just helps fill in the gaps in your studying, and just helps also with better like memorization and remembrance, because you're now teaching it to someone. And I feel like when you can teach someone something, that is like the highest form of understanding a topic. And I feel like for exams, that is what we're trying to achieve. You know what I mean? Additionally, I also love utilizing past papers, as many past papers as I can, wherever you can find them. In university, I think it's really important that you join the module group. Whatever module you're writing, join the group, because they usually like 2 days before the exam, or like even like the day before the exam, they send a lot of past papers. And I think it's really important that you do the past papers. I know with like high school students, probably literally like it's like candy, dude. It's like free candy. It's like right there. Like you have so many past papers. Do as many past papers as you can, because one, lecturers are more often than not gonna repeat questions from the past papers, so you'll be able to just get like 3-5 marks or like whatever from the past papers. Also, it helps you like kind of visualize how the lecturers or how the like examiners, teachers are gonna set the paper, and it helps with studying, like knowing what really to focus on and knowing how to answer the questions to get as many marks as you can. And then lastly, consult your lecturers and your teachers, please. Tutors, lecturers, teachers, everyone, like whatever, whoever you can consult, whoever's a pro at the module or the subject that you're doing, just consult them. Like, don't be shy, just do it. I know in high school I would literally bother my teachers. I was a problem. I would bother them. I'd be like, so this is this, I don't understand this, explain this again. I mean, you're literally paying for them to help you, so you might as well just get the best out of it. Same with lecturers. Email lecturers and be like, hey, can I come see you for an hour just to fill in this gap, or can you just reteach this again? I don't really understand it. There's no harm in doing that. You know what I mean? They're there to help you. They get paid to help you, so utilize that. And honestly, it's a cheat code, because like not a lot of people do it, but it really does help. So don't be scared, just do it. And yeah, well, these are just a few of my productivity and study tips that I hope may help you navigate this stressful time. Remember to be gracious towards yourselves, guys. We're obviously human still, and I know that everyone has got this. Exam season is going to be a breeze for everyone. I pray that God may obviously bless and guide you all in your endeavors and your studies, and that everything may go well. Can't wait to see you guys in the next video. Bye.